Hi folks, this is Karim Rao from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Red Arrow lab. This is the video number 45. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have been working on securing Windows Server 2019 based on the recommendation of the Department of Defense and the Defense Information System Agency of the United States. We have been doing this for about 14 videos. This is the video number 15. We have stopped the last time at this recommendation. Windows Server 2019 must have the DoD Root Certificate Authority certifications installed in the Trusted Root Store. So this certification is to secure access to the Department of Defense websites, and Department of Defense signed code are properly validated. So this certificate secure the connection to the Department of Defense website, to ensure secure connection to the Department of Defense website. The system must trust the certificate. Okay, so when the Windows system trusts the certificate, he will be able to browse the Department of Defense website securely. Okay, so this certificate ensures that the website is safe and it is secure, and the client have the appropriate right to access the website. So these certificates will only be installed to the Department of Defense users. Okay, so it will not be installed on Windows operating system for other users outside the Department of Defense. So there is a couple of certificates. One of them is the root certificate, and there is intermediate certificate and other certificates. All of these certificates ensure that you will connect to a secure website and to ensure your identity. Okay, so we can do this. Okay, first of all, we need to know if this certificate is installed on the operating system of the Department of Defense users. This can be done using a PowerShell command, okay, to know this. But anyway, you don't have a website, so these are for the clients or for the companies that have websites and they need to secure accessing to their websites, okay, for their users. Okay, so all of this we can do. If you have something like this, you can continue working with the certifications. Okay, so here the other recommendation: to ensure users do not experience denial of service when performing certificate-based authentication to DoD websites. So this is another certificate. The first certificate is to ensure that you are accessing a trusted and secure website. Okay, this certificate, or DoD Interoperability Root Certificate, this is to ensure users do not have or experience denial of service attack when performing authentication to the website. Okay, so I think this certificate also ensures that you access a secure website and to ensure the authentication of the users to the website. Anyway, so all of these are to secure accessing your company websites. Okay, this is if you have a public company website. Okay, so we don't have this. And all of these certificates, also the next recommendation is to ensure also another certificate to be installed. Okay, so the previous three recommendations is to install some certificates to ensure accessing your company website and to ensure that the users are authenticated to this website. Okay, and also to ensure the identity of these users. Okay, so there is no foreign users or anonymous users try to access the website of the Department of Defense or your company without your knowledge. Okay, anyway, so continue with this recommendation. Windows Server 2019 must have built-in guest account disabled. So there is an account created automatically when you install Windows. This is called, or this account is called guest. This account can be accessed, or you can access the Windows using this account without a password. Okay, and it has very limited rights, but its only weakness that you can access it without a password, and you have minimal rights, but the only problem is it does not have a password. Okay, and the hacker can use this account to elevate it, to give it more privileges, for example. So this is a security weakness. Okay, a system faces an increased vulnerability threat if the built-in guest is not disabled. This is known account that exists on all Windows systems and cannot be deleted. This account is initialized during the installation of the operating system with no password assigned. Okay, so the guest account, if we can go and search what is the guest account, we can have a little bit of a brief. What are the rights for this guest account? Okay, Windows guest account rights, or okay, let's see here. What are the rights of the guest account? Okay, a guest account means a limited user rights account created by the administrator, which a user can use the Windows after being logged in using a username and a password. A guest user account means a limited, okay, a limited guest account. So a limited account, so it's a limited account with limited rights. But what are the restrictions for this, or what are the privileges? Let's go here and see. So here is saying that, let's here see the privileges. Guest account is privileges. I have upgraded inside out. What are the privileges? Okay, the guest account let other users use your computer without being able to change the PC setting, install application, or access your private files. Do note, however, that Windows 10 no longer offers a guest account to share your PC, but you can create a restricted account to eliminate that kind of functionality. So this is one thing to know. So anyway, these are the rights of the guest. So these are the rights, even though it seems the rights to be limited, but it can be used by the hacker. Okay, it can be used by the hacker too, or he can take advantage of these limited rights, and the account doesn't have a password. Okay, so what we need to do to secure this account is to disable it completely, to change the name or the username of this account, which is guest. Okay, it changes from its username from guest to any other username, and disable it and give it a password. Okay, he's saying that we need to disable it, but I add more. We need to disable this account, you need to rename it, and you need to give it a password. Okay, so let's continue and see how we can disable this account from the group policy. We can disable it from Windows settings, security setting, and tell him to disable the guest account. So let's go and see this one. So we have Windows setting, and then we can go to security setting, and then local policies, I think, security options maybe. Yes, local policy, security options, and then to guest account. This is the status of the account, we need to disable it. Okay, and there will be another recommendation to rename the account. This is good because the hacker knows there is a username called guest, so we need to change it so he doesn't know what this account name is. Okay, so let's go to the next recommendation, which is limit account or local account use of blank password to console only. So this is a group policy. We restrict the creation of local users on the Windows Server 2019 that doesn't, or it has a blank password. So if you need to create a local user on a Windows Server 2019 system, this user should have a password, because there is an option that you can create a username or a local user on a Windows Server 2019 system, and you don't give it a password, and you can log to the system without a password. You only type the username and then press enter. So this is a very, very weak point, or this is a security point. Every user, local user or Active Directory account user, if you create it, you should give it a password. Okay, so here we will tell him limit local account use of blank passwords to console only. We will enable this policy, so you can only log into a machine using a local a user account without a password, okay, this can be done physically, not remotely. He's saying that this is to console login only. Console login only, that means that you can, I think, access it physically. So this policy, I think it is related to the remote access. So you can create a local account and you can access it or access it on a machine or on a Windows system without a password, but this can be done physically on the machine. But as for this one, I think it concentrates on accessing with a local user account remotely with a blank password. This is not permitted, I think, or it is safe to disable both, or to use both options, to disable completely having any users created on any system with a blank password, local or through the Active Directory, or remotely or physically or through console. Okay, so let's continue here. So this is the recommendation, but I need to get a little bit here for something else. Let's go and have another thing here. Okay, here is saying an account without a password can allow unauthorized access to a system as only the username would be required. Password policy should prevent accounts with blank password from existing on a system. Okay, however, if a local account with a blank password does exist, enabling this setting will prevent network access, limiting the account to local console only. So here we will not be able to access the machine remotely or through the network. Let's say here through the network, I think he means through the domain. Okay, so this is accessing the system through the domain or remotely. Okay, you cannot access the PC through the domain or remotely with a user that doesn't have a password or with blank password. This can be done physically. Okay, I mean here login or local console, he means here outside the network or locally. Okay, so you can only access a machine with a username with a blank password locally, not through the network or not remotely. Okay, so this we have known this already, so this is good. Let's continue working with the other recommendations. Let's go a little bit further here. So let's continue. And one of the most important group policies that you need to concentrate on is to rename your local administrator account. So there is an account that is created automatically during the installation of the Windows. This user is called administrator, or this account is called administrator, or the username of this account is administrator. Okay, so the administrator is a powerful account that has full control over the Windows operating system. So a hacker knows that by default when you install any Windows operating system, there is a username called administrator that have full control over the operating system. So you need to rename this account so the hacker will not know what is the new name, and you need to disable it and give it a strong password, and this password should be changed frequently. Okay, you can do all of these using a group policy and Microsoft Labs solution. Microsoft Labs solution or local account password solution ensures that the local administrator account password on all of your machines is changed regularly with a very complex password. Okay, as for renaming the administrator account, this will be done using a group policy, and disable it also will be done using a group policy. Why we disable this account? Because it is not in use. Okay, and we should not leave it open because a hacker can take advantage of it. You only use this account when you are in need or you need to use this account. Anyway, so let's see how we can rename the account using the group policy. So you can go and tell him first the status of the account is to disable it, not to enable it, by the way. Okay, so you need to disable it and use it only when in need. Okay, need to disable it, that's correct. Okay, and then we need to rename the account, something called account or rename administrator account. He will give you the group policy, and then he will give you an option to change the name of the administrator. You can here, if you open this one, there is define this policy setting. Here you give him the name of, or the new name of the administrator. Okay, so we name our administrator account to Karim or Kera04. Okay, then the other recommendation is to rename the guest account. This is very also one of the things. We know the guest account, its username or the account is called guest. We need also to rename it so the hacker does not know it. So we have the administrator account renamed Kera04 and the guest account renamed Kera05. Here we can see that this is the other recommendation. Windows Server 2019 must force audit policy subcategory setting to override audit policy category setting. Anyway, audit is a way to maintain, or this is the audit option. What is the audit option? It is an option to trail the system activity, okay, to see how the system works and to have a trail or have an evidence or have something written about what the system is doing. Okay, so this is done from the system activity logs. This helps us to configure or to identify configuration errors, troubleshoot service disruptions, and analyze disruptions and analyze compromise that has occurred if there is a hacker. Okay, audit logs are necessary to provide a trail of evidence in case the system or network is compromised. Anyway, so these options help us to have an audit, or to audit the system. Okay, to audit the system. This is in very, very short terms. Okay, this allows administrator to enable more precise auditing capabilities. So these options increase your audit option capabilities. It will log, or it will give you more data. Okay, because normally the Windows have a trail of all of its activity in the event log, but the event log have less information, okay, or not full detailed information. But by enabling audit, you have more information that helps you to identify configuration errors and troubleshoot services more efficiently. Anyway, so let's make sure that this option is already enabled. So we can go now and check this option, and we have done a lot of audit options to audit different activities of the Windows. Okay, so here we can go and do this to force audit policy subcategory. This is enabled already. And then the next recommendation, domain member digitally encrypt or sign secure channel always must be configured to enable. Requests sent on a secure channel are authenticated and sensitive information as password is encrypted, but not all information is encrypted. If this policy is enabled, outgoing secure channel traffic will be encrypted and signed. So he is saying that you need to secure any connection to any domain member. Domain member here we mean a server or a workstation. So the communication between a server and a domain controller, or a server and a workstation, or a workstation and a domain controller, all of these connections should be secured. Okay, so he's saying that requests sent on secure channels are authenticated. So you need to secure the connection to your different devices in your environment. So here he's saying by enabling this option, we need to encrypt and sign secure channel, or always to send data or communicate with other devices in your network through secure channels, and not only secure channels, and encryption also. Okay, so this always should be open. So this option should always be open. No communication between any devices in your network will be done unless the connection between them, or the channel connection between them, is secured and encrypted. This is always okay. Then we will see other option if available. So for example, if you need to communicate with another device, and the other device says that it cannot secure the connection, or it doesn't have the necessary services to enable it to secure the connection, because by the way, if you need to secure a connection between devices, these devices should have certain services up and running. But what if one of these clients or servers or workstation doesn't have the necessary services to secure the connection? Then you will not be able to communicate with it. Okay, so first of all, we need to enable always. So we need always to enable secure connection. If there is for any reason a problem to have this or to have a secure connection, then it will be if available or if necessary. Let's see first this. We will enable it, something called domain member. So it's saying here that outgoing secure channel traffic will be encrypted and signed. Okay, and saying sensitive information such as password will be encrypted and signed. So let's go to the domain member. He's saying here domain member, let's go there, digitally sign secure channel. Okay, and he's saying here you need to take care because this will affect your communication, of course. Okay, so this is one thing you need to make sure. Okay, and then the next recommendation, you will see here that this is something called, let's go further and we'll show you all the other recommendation, when possible. So here is saying that digitally encrypt secure channels when possible. Okay, so here is saying that that the previous recommendation states that you should encrypt the secure channels between the devices. So by the way, the other recommendation says that you will encrypt secure channels. So when you communicate between any device in your network, there is a secure channel, or it is secured. Okay, secured from hacking, of course, but the data maybe it is sent in blank text or something. So he is saying that he will have a secure channel and encrypt the data sent in this secure channel. Anyway, so it's saying here digitally encrypt secure channel data when possible must be configured to enable. It is saying that requests sent on secure channel are authenticated and sensitive data such as password is encrypted, but not all information is encrypted. If this policy is enabled, outgoing secure channel traffic will be encrypted. So I need to make a little bit of change in my statement or in my explanation. Here he's saying that there will be communication between your devices in your network, okay, using secure channels. Secure channels means that it is secured from hacking, okay, but the data maybe it's not encrypted or digitally signed. So he's saying he will have secure channel and he will encrypt the data in this secure channel. Okay, digitally encrypt or sign secure channel. Okay, so this is what he mean by this. So let's continue and also and enable this option. Okay, digitally encrypt secure channels when possible. So as we said before, maybe there is no services to help you secure or to encrypt your data. So he's saying when possible. Okay, the other was always, and this is when possible. Okay, so I think let me show you guys here something. Let's go to the local group policy and see if we have something, or let's see the description of this this group policy itself. We have GP edit. Okay, let's see here. Let's open this one, Windows setting, and then let's go to security and then local policies and then security options, and here we can see domain member digitally encrypt. Okay, let's see this. Okay, he's saying this security determines whether all secure channels traffic initiated by the domain member server or workstation must be signed or encrypted. Okay, when a computer joins a domain, a computer account is created. After that, when the system starts, it uses the computer account password to create a secure channel with a domain controller for its domain. The secure channel is used to perform operations such as NTNL path through authentication, LS or something. Okay, so it's saying that you have a secure communication to your domain controller. This setting determines whether or not all secure channel traffic initiated by the domain member meets minimum security requirements. Especially, it determines whether all secure channel traffic initiated by the domain member must be signed or encrypted. If this policy is enabled, then the secure channel will not be established unless either signing or encrypting all of the secure channel traffic is negotiated. So he's saying that this is always, he will not initiate a connection to the domain controller, okay, with this member server, member or domain member. It can be a server or a workstation. This connection will not be done unless the channel or the connection is a secure channel and the data is encrypted. So this, what he mean by this, negotiated with the domain controller in case the level of signing and encryption depends on the version of the domain controller and the setting of the following two policies. Okay, so here also this group policy depends on the other two, something called when possible, digital encrypt secure channels when possible, and additionally encrypt and sign. So you can encrypt the data and sign the data. Encryption to ensure it will not be crackable, and sign to secure and sign the data to ensure the identity of the user. Okay, so this is what we mean by that. So if this enabled, it will assume to enable regardless of its current setting. This ensures the domain member attempts to negotiate at least signing secure channel. If this enabled the domain policy members, so this is the one when possible. He's saying it is assumed to enable regardless of its setting. This ensures the domain member attempts to negotiate at least signing of the secure channel traffic. So he's saying here, if this is enabled, assumed when possible is assumed to be enabled regardless of its current setting. This ensures it's assumed to be enabled regardless of current setting. This ensures that the domain member attempts to negotiate at least signing of the channel to be enabled regardless of the current setting. Okay, so here he's saying that when possible, so you can enable these two when possible to secure the channel or encrypt it when possible, or always. So he say that you can enable both, as I said before, if there is some let's see, some services that is not available on the domain member to secure the channel or to secure the encryption or to secure the data and encrypt it. So we'll tell it when possible. Okay, so if the domain member server doesn't have the necessary services to secure and encrypt the data, okay, a connection can be done, but he should ask domain if he have the services necessary to encrypt and secure the channel. He should use it, but he at least should ask the domain controller if he can encrypt the data. Okay, if he can encrypt the data, or the domain controller should ask the domain member if he has the necessary services to encrypt the data, and the connection can be done or not. Okay, it depends upon when possible or always. Anyway, so let's continue working here. Encrypt secure channel when possible. So this is encrypt the data and sign the data. So we have two things here: to encrypt the data, this is something, and to sign the data. So we have this when possible, so it can encrypt the data sometimes, and sometimes it can't encrypt the data, and it can sign the data sometimes, and sometimes it cannot sign the data. So these two options says that you offer or the domain controller, or you negotiate with the domain controller or offer him that I can encrypt the data and I can sign the data if I have the necessary services. If I don't have it, okay, then the connection could be established anyway. Okay, but I think also the one secure is to always ensure encryption and signing of the data. The previous recommendation. Anyway, so we will continue working with these, okay, to secure and encrypt the data. And as we have said before, it was enabled by default. Okay, so this is it. Then the next recommendation, computer account password must not be prevented from being reset. We have said before that the computer account, if you have seen the explanation of the group policy that I was discussing now, it said that a computer account has password. Okay, so when you join a computer to the domain, this computer has a password and it's used to establish a connection to the domain controller. Okay, the computer password should be changed automatically on a regular basis. It is actually changed every 30 days. Okay, there is a group policy that you can prevent automatically changing of the computer password every 30 days. This should be disabled. We need to have the computer account password to be changed. So when you join a computer to the domain, the computer has a password, okay, exactly like the user, and this password is used to establish a connection to the domain controller. Okay, so the domain controller verifies two things: verify that he has a valid user account on the domain and you have a valid computer account on the domain. Okay, anyway, so we need to disable this group policy that prevent changing of the computer password every 30 days. So this should be done. Okay, so let's go and see this. We need to go, or disabling automatic password changes can make the system more vulnerable to malicious access. Okay, so we say it is automatically changed on a regular basis. Okay, so here we have domain member disable changing of password. This should be disabled or to be not defined, I think. Anyway, so we'll disable it. Okay, and then we need to continue. Here is saying the maximum computer account password should be 30 days. So the computer account password should be changed every 30 days. This is the minimum recommendation. So this is to secure. So if it is changed every 30 days, this is a very good thing because the password will be changed frequently. Okay, so we need to make sure that the computer account password is changed every 30 days. Okay, so let's see here, maximum account password age, it is 30, and then apply and OK. And then we can continue working with other recommendations. Windows Server 2019 must be configured to require a strong session key. A computer connecting to domain controller will establish a secure channel. Okay, so this we have discussed before. The secure channel connection may be subject to compromise, such as hijacking or eavesdropping means to spy on you. If strong session keys are not used to establish the connection, requiring strong session keys enforces 128-bit encryption between systems. So this is to secure a connection to the domain controller. You secure the channel or secure the connection to the domain controller by encrypting the data sent to the domain controller. Okay, so this is to ensure that the encryption key used to encrypt the data sent to domain controller, it is strong enough. Okay, it is strong enough. So he is saying that the secure channel connection may be subject to compromise. So if a strong session keys or it is a strong encryption key used to encrypt the data sent to the domain controller, this will be much more good. So we by enabling this group policy, this ensures that the encryption key used to be strong, something like 128-bit encryption key. So he's saying here that the connection to the domain controller, it is already encrypted, but with a less or with a weak strong encryption, or with a weak encryption key. This ensures that the encryption key will be strong. It will be 128-bit encryption key. So let's see how we can configure this group policy. So here we will see require strong session key. This setting may prevent the system from being just a moment here. So it's saying here that this setting may prevent the system from being joined to a domain if not configured consistently between systems. So I think this should be enabled on most of your systems. Okay, so he's saying here take care. So if, for example, you can enable it on the server but not on a workstation. This will do conflicts. So you should enable it on all of your workstations and all of your servers. And also your domain controller should use the same encryption key. So all of your devices should use the same encryption key. Okay, to enable you to communicate between different devices or between different systems. Okay, so let's continue and see the other ones. Okay, the upcoming recommendation is saying that this may affect your compatibility with clients and services and applications. Anyway, so take care of this. You should try this or to enable this group policy and test it, okay, before applying it in your production environment. Here another recommendation saying that machine inactivity limit must be set to 15 minutes, then the system should be locked with a screensaver. So why is this? For example, if you are working on a machine and then you left your machine to go to the bathroom, for example, okay, your desktop should be locked so no one can access your computer and use your machine. So when this should be done, or when your system should be locked after 15 minutes. So if you leave your machine without any inactivity, or if you leave your machine without any activity for 15 minutes, the desktop will be locked and the screensaver will be initialized. Okay, so we need to do this. We should not leave your desktop opened if you are not unattended, or if you are not sitting on the desk and using your machine. So if you unattended, is saying unattended systems are susceptible to unauthorized use and should be locked when unattended. The screensaver must be set to 15 minutes. We have done this before with a protected password. So your machine will be locked if you leave your PC not working for 15 minutes. It will be locked with a screensaver, and when you try to use the desktop again, you should provide your username and password to unlock the machine and unlock the password and unlock your screensaver. Anyway, so this helps you to protect your data. Okay, so anyway, you can do this. We have done this before. So interactive login machine inactivity limit should be limited to 900 seconds. Okay, and this is the same time the screensaver will be initialized or will work after 900 seconds of inactivity. Okay, so let's see this. We need to go and limit or machine inactivity limit. This is it, machine inactivity limit for 900 seconds. Machine inactivity limit 900. Okay, and then we will continue with the other recommendations. Apply and OK, and then let's continue with the other recommendations. Okay, and then this is one of the things, to have something called a legal notice. What is a legal notice? When you sit on any machine that is joining the domain, before logging into the system, it should give you a notice or give you something like you are accessing a restricted workstation. All of your activity will be monitored and, for example, logged. This is something like a warning. Before you log into a machine in the domain, he will give you a warning or a message warning that you are accessing a restricted, or you are accessing a work machine, okay, or you are accessing something related to an organization. So for example, here is saying for the United States or the Department of Defense, you are accessing, so we will have a notice or a message appears to the users before logging into the machine in the Department of Defense domain, saying you are accessing a US government system. It is provided for USG authorized use only. Okay, saying here to give you a warning. Okay, this is one of the things, also professional thing to do in your in your environment or in your company, to give a legal notice to the user. So you are warning him that you should access this machine or this domain only if you are one of the members of the domain. So if you are not, if you are trying to play with the system or a hacker, all of your data or all of your steps will be recorded anyway. So this is something like a warning. Okay, we can do this. We have the message itself and the title of the message, or we have a message, the title of the message and the body of the message. We will see this is the body of the message, and then we have the title of the message. It is saying United States or Department of Defense. So the title of the message, Department of Defense, and the body of the message will be this things. It can be changed according to your environment and your company. Okay, so how we can do this, I will show you all how we can do this. And actually I have done this in my lab. If you see the setting of our lab, we have done this in the beginning of the setup of our red alert domain. We have a legal notice, okay, before logging into my machine, okay, or on my red alert joined machine. Okay, so let's see here. This is the body of the message. Okay, applied, okay, and then we need to have the title or the message title. Okay, so we have this, and then we have the title or the banner title. So this is a banner will appear for the user before logging into the machine or logging into the domain. Okay, DoD notice or consistent banner, Department of Defense warning statement. This is the title of the message. So the previous one was the body of the message, and this is the title of the message. Okay, so this can be done and change it according to your working environment. Okay, so this is it. Let me see first and see how much time we have used or how much time we have been recording. This is 42 minutes, so okay, we can continue. And then let's go to the other recommendation. Smart card removal option must be configured to force log off or lock workstation. Unattended systems are susceptible to unauthorized use and must be locked. Configuring a system to lock when a smart card is removed will ensure the system is inaccessible when unattended. Smart card, it is a way to secure access, authenticate and secure your access to your operating system. Okay, this is something like the username and password, but it is more secure. So we can see this here from, or let's see what is a smart card. Okay, smart card Windows. Okay, what is Windows smart card? Are tamper-resistant portable storage devices that can enhance the security of a task such as authenticating clients. Here, authenticating clients means accessing the domain or logging into the domain, signing code, ensuring or securing email, and signing in with a Windows domain account. So he's saying here this can be used as a second method to authenticate and secure your access or logging into the domain. Okay, and it is tamper resistant, so it can't be hackable. Okay, so this is a way to secure your access to your domain. Okay, let's see this is how it looks like, something like USB or a smart card. This is it. So you can use them to access or to log into your domain side by side with your Active Directory username and password. So he is saying when you remove this device from your machine, then the Windows should lock and the screensaver should appear. It can be to lock the machine with a screensaver or to log off of the machine when you remove this device or remove this card. Okay, so this is something here, and this is a way. Here we can see this is something also. Select a smart card. Anyway, so this is what we mean by smart card. So when you remove this smart card, you should, if you remove it, the Windows should force a log off or lock the workstation. Okay, this is to ensure that no one use this or no one can use your machine unless the smart card is there. Okay, anyway, so this is what we mean by smart card. He is saying that if you are configuring this on servers, so if you have a smart card on a server, this may cause issues such as terminating users' remote sessions. The organization has a policy in place that any other sessions on the server, such as administrative consoles logs, are manually locked or logged off when unattended or not in use. This would be acceptable. So he's saying you cannot use the smart card option on servers, okay? And instead you should lock the machine or log off the machine manually before leaving the server, okay, unattended. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, so this can be used on workstations, not on servers. Okay, because if you use it on servers, this can terminate remote user sessions. Okay, remote user sessions. So let's, for example, consider that you are using a smart card on the server and then you remove the smart card. Okay, any user connected to this server remotely, his session will be terminated. Okay, so if you have the option, of course, to log off the machine or to this is for log off the machine, okay, not for locking the machine. Okay, so anyway, so this is one of the things he's saying. Recommendations: smart behavior removal. I think here we leave it to lock the workstation, to lock the workstation, not to log off or to disconnect. Okay, to lock the workstation. So let's continue with the other recommendations. Here we can, or we'll begin saying that digitally signed communication always must be configured to enable. Okay, so the server SMB or the server message block SMB protocol provides the basis for many network operations. Digitally signing SMB packets aid in preventing man-in-the-middle attack. If this policy is enabled, SMB clients will only communicate with an SMB server that performs SMB packet signing. So SMB, basically, it is used or more frequently used on file servers. So if you need to secure your connection to your file server, you should first, if you need to communicate with your file server, you should use the SMB protocol. And not only this, you need to secure this connection to your file server by signing the packets sent to the file server using the SMB protocol. So he's saying that the server message block protocol provides the basis for many network operations. One of them is to connect to your file server. So digitally signing SMB packets, or the packets sent by the SMB protocol, this will help preventing hacking. Okay, if this policy is enabled, SMB client will only communicate with an SMB server that performs SMB packet signing. What we mean by this? If your file server does not support packet signing or encrypting, let's see, encrypting of your data, then the client will not communicate with the file server. So you should always the client should always communicate with a file server that is encrypting or signing the packets sent to him. Okay, so this is always. We will see something called when possible. So for example, maybe a client or a server doesn't have the necessary services to encrypt or sign the packets. So we can even though initiate the connection, even though it is not secure, but this too make the user work. But the more secure is to always sign packets. Okay, so this is one of the things also. So here we will tell him Microsoft Network Client we need to ensure signing of the packets. Okay, and signing here, it puts like signing the data enables the server to identify the user. So signing the data makes the server, or the file server, ensures that this user is one of the users inside the domain and he's not an anonymous user or a hacker. Okay, and also prevents it from being hacked. So for example, maybe a hacker can hack the data sent to the file server and change it. So signing the data will ensure that the server knows the identity of the user and ensure that the data is not tampered with. Okay, anyway, so we will enable network signing, but take care also this group policy should be tested, okay, always. And then if the server agrees, so the first thing is from the client side. The client side will not communicate with the file server unless the packets is signed, or the communication between him and the file server, the data sent to him should be signed. Okay, this is from the client side. As from the server side, he can agree, okay, or he's saying here that the communicating with server is enabled or required to perform SMB signing. So maybe the server can reject the communication with the client because he doesn't have the necessary services to sign the data. Okay, and the user is insisting, or the client is insisting to sign the data, so the server doesn't have the necessary data, so he can reject or agrees. It depends upon the services or the capabilities of the server to sign the data. This is if server agrees. Okay, so this is one of the things also. So let's go and configure it. So let's also, guys, let me show you all, or let's try to see here what is written in the local group policy. So if you can go there and go to the Windows setting, security, and then local policies, and then security options. Let's see the one asking about network member. Okay, here is digitally signed communication. This is for the client. Let's see here what is saying here. Okay, prevent man individual will not communicate with a Microsoft network server unless the server agrees to perform SMB packet signing. Okay, this is it. Then let's go to the server. If server agrees, he is saying here the Microsoft network client will ask the server to perform SMB packet signing upon session setup. If packet signing has been enabled on the server, packet signing will be negotiated. If the policy is disabled, the SMB client will never negotiate SMB packeting. So just a minute, guys, just a moment. So let's continue, guys. Here we will continue with the other recommendations. Client sign if server agrees. So this is it. We have known what is this option, and then I will stop at this recommendation. Here is saying that there is some SMB servers, okay, or some servers that use the SMB protocol. Mainly it is the file servers, and these file servers use Windows operating system or Microsoft operating system. He's talking about file servers that use non-Microsoft system. He's saying that some of these systems doesn't secure the data sent to it. Securing the data here means the passwords sent to the file server. Okay, for example, if you have a file server and there is a shared folder on it, and to access this shared folder you need to provide a password. Here is saying that some non-Microsoft file servers, the password sent to it to access a file on it, shared file, is sent unencrypted. Okay, so you need to make sure that some Microsoft or non-Microsoft SMB servers only supports unencrypted plain text password authentication, or this is to access a folder or to authenticate accessing to a folder. So for example, you need or the file server need to know that you are a user that has a valid username and password to access the file server. Okay, so it's saying that sending plain text passwords across the network when authenticating to an SMB server reduces the overall security of the environment. Check with the vendor of the SMB server to determine if there is a way to support encrypted password authentication. So to access a file server and access a shared folder on the file server, you need to authenticate yourself to the file server. So the file server should know that you are a valid user that have the right to access the shared folder on the file server. Okay, so this is called encrypt, or called authentication. So the authentication the authentication process should be encrypted as a whole. Okay, this is done for Microsoft SMB servers. This could not be done for some non-Microsoft SMB servers. Anyway, I will stop at this recommendation. This is the minute 13:27. So let's see here. Let me show you all this 13:37, or this is minute number 13:27. I will stop at this recommendation. Hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.